The church has no use for mediocre daughters of charity. The church and the world has need of saints. It is a matter which concerns the eternal salvation of each one of us and the destiny of the community in the church. We usually have a plan, but why have a plan? No need.
We do not need a plan. This is just our co-host chat. We just needed a little break. We had wonderful interviews. We have some great interviews coming up, but we just needed some time
to
to
just hang
chat,
out for a
just
minute.
just hang out with one another.
Yeah.
So I was saying to you at an earlier time, we just had our big assembly. And for those of you who don't know what that means, assembly is just what it sounds like. We assemble all the sisters
every 6 years.
every 6 years. Yeah.
What do they call it? To the source.
Yeah, that's right.
To the center.
To the
This time we had
center.
to do it figuratively because we were on Zoom. But
That's right. That's right. And so I was just saying, it was so disorienting. I just gave a talk at St. John's University by WebEx, so we're like Zooming and WebExing and all these different kinds of platforms to do this stuff, but you can't see who you're talking to. Yeah. And so like, I'm thinking they could have all just like gone up and, gone to do the dishes or something. And you don't know, like, are they paying attention? Are they not paying attention? So you just kind of keep talking into like an abyss, And it felt kind of the same way in the assembly. It was very disorienting to not have, the banter, the noise around you,
the in-between conversations that usually happen.
All that sister stuff of like, how's she doing? What's going on over there? That table's really loud. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I guess that's just normal among all people who go, but not all people have these big assemblies where they like gather. But try to imagine having like a family reunion where you can't
200 people, 250 people,
and you don't hear like somebody says something kind of crazy and you can't hear the gasp of the group, right? They'd be like, what did she just say? Or you say something really profound and you hear the kind of awe of people like, wow, yeah, no clapping, no hissing or booing or whatever. Not that we ever would boo one another.
You get a lot of like, yes.
It motivates you. It kind of spears you on. Yeah. And so,
you do get the head nodding on Zoom.
You do, but you got to watch the whole thing. And you're trying to talk to 200 people. You're only seeing, well, in your small groups, definitely. That's great. But then your small group gets thrown into the big group, and in the way we were doing it, someone from the small group. So you imagine 6 people in a group would report back. And then you're reporting back and your other 5 people are like scattered into the multitudes and you don't know, are they happy with what you just said? Like saying time out?
That's
like,
not at all what we said in our small. So you don't get the evil eye when you change something that we decided that you were going to say.
Or somebody like raising their hand saying that was great, but you forgot my part, I realized towards the end, there was one thing somebody said and I didn't say it. And I thought, and you can't go back because we only had 2 minutes, right?
Yes.
Oh, no, we really had a minute and 10 seconds because we couldn't be there all day.
Boy, that bell it rings.
Right.
You're on mute again.
Yeah. So it was really something, but the meeting was fabulous. I mean, you got to say, the folks who helped us kind of execute that, really make it happen, were amazing.
Huge.
Yeah, it was amazing. And we had just amazing topics to talk about. We really took some time to look at our own bias, look at our own prejudice, in the face of such systemic racism around the world, just to look within ourselves and say, what do we need to work on ourselves in order to be more open, to be more loving, to be more, accessible, to be more inclusive, all those things. And so, certainly to look at those issues within ourselves, but also, how are we living together? We live in community. We're not living separately. Even though because of the pandemic, we know, we've lived separately from each other, even in our small local communities. We've not had really, we've not had contact with one another. And so that's going to be really interesting. I was thinking about, our leadership team, our council, the sisters who we've kind of counsel, are in these leadership positions. They're the ones who are going to help us manage the whole big group of us. You always need somebody who kind of takes on that
Somebody's got to
role,
do
right?
it. Yep.
And I thought, they haven't been out to see us. They would normally come to visit on occasion. They would, have some interaction with us. We would be where they are at a meeting. They would come to our house and see our works, and that, that kind of community relationship with each other. We're not out here by ourselves. I'm wondering what they're going to find when they get out here. We've aged for a year. Our works are very different than when we started. It's just amazing.
It's
The whole
an
assembly.
era of change for real. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think if anything, we've experienced the poverty of not being able to be together, and the separateness and the rub of not being able to support each other in the ways that we traditionally have. And I think when we talk about assemblies as this time where we come together and there's loud and laughing and, everybody's enjoying, and the evening programs and events and stuff that sometimes happen.
Right. Or the not going to them and ending up in a corner talking with some friends you haven't seen for a while. Yeah.
Exactly. And so we've definitely experienced that poverty, but made up for it in the best way that we can. I think, some of we had 20 small groups to report back to the large group in this particular meeting. And I don't think we ever would have been able to accomplish what we accomplished so quickly and efficiently in a large group setting all together in a giant ballroom, that sort of thing. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
Roving microphones, and
we'd still be there.
Seminary sisters would be running everywhere and taking
That's
right.
That's right.
Group 20 is here, but group 15 is over there. And,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And as much as we, talk about wanting to you try to come to these meetings or end them with some product, some statement or some shared wisdom, you're always going to have someone who wants to say it should be the and not the, it should be, and to wordsmith it, and we just couldn't do that. I can imagine the frustration of the people who like to change words, just to find the perfect one. It couldn't do that. We had to just kind of accept the essence of the wisdom and let it and let that sit, and let those sisters who do those things well put those things together. It's just a phenomenal thing, really. And I think it's things that people don't really know about us. They kind of think we're just living out here, but there are times, and for us it's every 6 years. Other communities call it chapter, others have other names. We call it This Is Our Assembly. Domestic when we share in our local communities, and provincial when we share all together. In our case, over 200 sisters coming together on Zoom. Who would ever think we could do that? And and then the General Assembly, where 2 sisters from each province around the world, 180 sisters from over 90 places, will come together in Paris to bring with them the wisdom of the world,
all of it,
of the Daughters of Charity all over the world. It just explodes your brain. I mean, it just and we do this every 6 years. That's just crazy. It's just crazy. Yeah.
And God bless Sister Katie and Sister Teresa, who are gonna go and
represent
go to Paris
us
for that meeting. Those American girls and the ones from from the province of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton in the West.
Yeah.
They'll be out there too. So
Yeah.
it's really special, and it was different this year, but it was no less special in that sense.
Yeah.
We had
So
a good
that's
time.
a little about us, what we've just been doing, what we're heading into. I mean, these are just really incredibly special and blessed times of community, of just being alive in this weird time, and but also mourning the loss of some of our sisters. We had 9 sisters die from
Right.
COVID. We found that out. Most specifically, we've had 2 young members die from cancer. It's just felt devastating in a way. And also, that was something
Yes.
we lost, that ability to really mourn together. And you just think there's so much we need to do when we are able to come back together to
Exactly.
celebrate and to mourn and to do all those things we as people, as humans, as members of a group we're not able to do, and we're just like all the other people around the world who were not able to say goodbye to their loved ones the way we would want. It helps in kind of strange and sad ways to unite us, as
Yeah.
human beings, but also to realize how fragile we are, and in
Yeah,
the
I
midst
think
of that, go ahead.
retreat is my hope. Like that retreat will be that time where we kind of feel like we're coming together again, and in prayer and sacrament
Hmm.
and silence, even how special that is to be silent together and all of that. So, it's March at the time that we are taping this, and
Hmm.
typically retreats happen in the summertime. So that'll be
Yeah.
that'll hopefully be good. And we actually just did our retreat for Vows. So
Oh.
the Feast of the Annunciation is upon us, friends. We are going to make our vows on Thursday. You're hearing this on Tuesday, hopefully.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, we'll be making our vows to the Lord, saying yes again. Throughout the world, the Daughters of Charity on the Feast of the Annunciation make our vows once more. Every
Yeah.
year we say yes.
Every year.
So
It's
it's
amazing.
it's pretty awesome, and we did our retreat out with the Benedictine Sisters of the Good Shepherd, where I did my annual retreat this
Hmm.
in November, and great place out in the desert, quiet, stars shining in the night, like no light pollution or anything. Man, it was really good. Little tiny hermitages, the
Oh
3
my
of us from
God.
this house.
That's-
So each of us had our little hermitage
Oh
right there
my
in a cove, and
gosh. I'm so
it
jealous.
was it was spectacular.
We're
It
going to
really
be in our
was.
little house, uh,
Just in your room.
in our rooms, because there's no other real private place to be. We got a community room, a living room, dining room, chapel, kitchen, boom. That's
Mm,
it. Anything else is your bedroom.
that's
So
it.
yeah, that sounds so great though. It's
And guess who was
yeah.
with me on this retreat? I'm
Who?
showing her the book right now.
Oh,
It's one
Mother
of my
Sis.
favorites of the Daughters of Charity, Mother
Yeah.
Guillemot's letters. They have all of her circular letters here,
Yeah.
this little book. And it just, I
I'm gonna
mean, do
have
you want
to.
to say a little bit about Mother Guillemot and how great she
There
was?
is no way to say something little about Mother Guillemot. She was the superioress general of the community back in the 60s. We not during our time, but she was revolutionary, really. And
Hmm.
she was at a time when the community was changing, when the church was changing. She was
Yep.
at Vatican II. I mean, amazing. One of the first women to be involved in something like that, and yeah, just she's just amazing. She was very before her time, in her
Mm,
thinking, but very of the time. Like she knew that things were changing, that times would be changing, and so the way we lived, the way we looked, what we would be wearing, how we would be in the world would definitely be different. The church was moving, it was
mm.
changing, and she wanted us to be there. We are daughters of the church, right?
I want to
But at
read to
this,
you one little quote.
well, I just think, I bet in it though, what I think we see in her is this: even though there's a wave of change, who we are, the core of who we are, holds firm in the midst of change,
Mm,
that we emerge into that change still strong in who we are, not trapped by the past, but in the strength of the mission. The charism lives in so many different times. But yeah, read us something from.
okay, this is I think I've underlined everything in this
Yeah.
book, highlighted, starred,
I hear
circled.
you. Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
really has aged quite well. How many decades has it
Oh,
been? 60,
she could have written
60
these
years.
today. And tragically, we have to say it was one of the first, I think it was the first big General Assembly that happened in the community, and she died.
Yes.
Tragic. Yeah,
Yep.
just it's tragic for the community. And I don't think that created the myth of who she is, or that, the mystique of who she is, because her writings would be as profound today. But her death just was so stark. But yeah, so read to us
Okay, here we
from
go.
Mother Guillermin.
You're gonna love this.
Yeah.
Very short.
Hmm.
The church has no use for mediocre daughters of charity. The church and the world has need of saints. It is a matter which concerns the eternal salvation of each one of us and the destiny of the community in the church.
Yeah, like I said, it's mind blowing. Totally. When did she write this? What was the
That one, it
citation of
was,
this?
yeah, like the February ones, which are,
Uh-huh.
we can get into all of that, but she
The-
writes a letter on February 2nd, and it's always about the vows. And so
yeah.
this one, I think, was 1963. That's
1963.
1963.
Yeah.
Who was alive then? Not me.
Not me. Oh no, I was. Excuse me.
Don't lie. You are alive.
I was alive. I was 3. Let's be clear about this. All right. I was 3 years old in 1963. So it's not like, I was hip to this stuff at that point. Hip was a word they used in those days, right?
Way back when.
Way back when. Way back when. But think about that. The church doesn't need mediocre daughters of charity. Oh my gosh.
I just, whenever I think to myself, yeah, like things are good, there's not a lot of drama, prayer life's fine, community life's okay. Well, that that's another word for fine, and okay is another word for mediocre.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we've got to keep our spirit and our soul and our prayer life alive and dynamic in order to do what we're supposed to do.
Hmm. Yeah.
A lot of times the Daughters of Charity, we're very well known for our service. No one questions that. We know how to work, we know how to minister. The people we serve are respected and honored, all that good stuff. But where does that come from?
Hmm.
That power, that respect, that sense of presence, it comes from the interior life that we're trying to cultivate every day, the community life that we live together, which strengthens us to do what we are supposed to do.
Given to God in community for the service of the poor. Absolutely. Yeah. Given to God in prayer. And you're right. It can't be mediocre prayer. It can't be mediocre community, because both of those will lead to mediocre service, which would be
Mm-hmm.
disastrous to the community. It
Mm-hmm.
would just be such an affront to who we are and why we have gathered together since 1633, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're here because both Vincent and Louise and those who followed them, especially Mother Suzanne Guillermin, tell us over and over, the poor um, are the precious ones of God, and that's who we are to be of service to be friends with, to know by name, to be a part of their lives. And yeah, when we let that go, either because we're not praying well, And that doesn't mean, we're having mystical experiences or something. It means we're showing up.
I am every day. I don't know about you.
Well, right now, it means showing up. It means showing up with some heart. It means showing up with your whole self, being present and giving it all you got, not just coming because it's part of the day and it's on the schedule. And so you show up because you have to, show up because you want to, and because you're compelled to, which is a little different than just having to show up because it's routine, but compelled. I have to show up because of the crucified Christ who beckons us in those who are suffering, those who are vulnerable. If we don't show up to hear them cry out to us in the Psalms of David, I mean, they, is the voice of the people. Gosh, where would we be? What
exactly.
we would
We'd
just be
be great
pitiful.
social workers and great
Yeah, we would be. We'd be good social workers. You're right.
We'd be okay, but
Yeah.
that's not what the world and the church need from us.
Yeah. They need saints, whatever that means. Gosh, when I heard that, I thought, oh Lord, you picked a good one to read.
Church has need of saints. Come on, people.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I just get that fire from reading these and reflecting on those quotes, and I think what keeps coming back to me is totally given to God, totally given to God.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, like, am I at 80%? Am I at 50%? Am I at 95%? Like, how totally am I given to God?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just did this course, online course, not really even a course. It was kind of a online pilgrimage with David White, who's a great poet. I love him. He's Irish poet. And one of the things he talked about was it was of Western Ireland, the west coast of Ireland, right?
Okay.
And it's kind of raw and rugged but very mystical, a lot of hermitages out there. And one of the things he talked about was that we are the ancestors of our own horizon. It sounds so esoteric, doesn't it? But the more I thought about it, I thought we are, in the sense that who we are today, looking out into our horizons, looking out into our future, right? That we become the ancestors. So when that future comes, people will look back, right? And say, who were the ones who brought this horizon? Who were the ones who brought this present moment to life? Mother Guillemot's horizon is our now, Yeah. And so when she says, don't be mediocre, and we're saying what the church needs now is brave and, women who are willing to get out there and not just do the work, but do it with love and with integrity and with respect and giving dignity, all those things. In many ways, the world has lost, that we're living the ancestors' dream, right? Of what this is. And what's so beautiful is that we're having this conversation with this kind of intensity because every year we reflect on the now of our ancestors, right? That Vincent, Louise, Mother Guillemot, so many, Rosalie Rondeau, Catherine Labouré, all these incredible daughters of charity who were before us did what we're doing, right?
They said yes every year.
They said yes every year. They did exactly the same thing that we're doing. And what an opportunity it is for us to reflect back on our beginnings and to reflect forward on what's the strength of what we're going to bring into the future, so that our newer members, can see the strength of the community they're about to enter. That to me is it's just so amazing, and it reminds me every year of why I'm here, why I stayed, why I continue to stay, because you can come to this day, you can come to your retreat, your vow retreat, and say, what am I doing? Some years
and
it's much easier to say yes than others.
Give in a half-hearted way, or we say yes because that's just what everybody else is doing, or
right.
God, where else am I going to go? That's that's the kind of thing where we have to break ourselves open, let God break us open, and to be ready for the adventure of the year. And I think if we've learned anything from the past year, is that we have no clue what this year is going to come, what it's going to be,
that's
what it's going to look like, who we're going to meet, or what situations are going to come our way. And the yes is not just for that moment, but the yes is to everything that will come, and our fidelity in that. And I think what helps me is that we say yes individually, but we say yes as a group and as a community, knowing that every person that's next to us and the sisters throughout the world are united in that following the path that Mary did, to say yes in the now, but knowing that it's a yes for everything that will come, good or bad. And it's humbling, and it's scary and powerful, but knowing that we are in this together in the spirit of so many who have come before us. There's a level of confidence in that God himself and Mary, our mother, are with us in all of it. That's why we're still here. That's why the Daughters of Charity haven't, closed up shop.
Thank God.
So to speak.
Yeah.
The Lord clearly has more work for us to do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'd like to not be freaked out by that, but I think if anything that we learned from Mother Guillemot and the others who have been spiritual giants in the community is that, we have to be ready to lay down our lives like the crucified one did. And that's every day.
Wow. That's so beautiful. Stop. I can tell you just came from retreat. We'll talk in a week and see.
I'll be like,
I laid down my life. I'm so tired.
I'm tired. I'm just going to lay here.
Yeah.
I lay down my life.
I think about St. Louise too. St. Louise said, to the weak, when we feel tired, do we look to each other for strength? And on the strong, those who are feeling good, those who are in a good space, are they supporting those who are struggling? That community is about being for one another. And sometimes, we come to this day to renew our vows. Some of us are like, how we are right now, right? We're like on this high of, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing in the world. And something can happen between now and Thursday. And we're going to be like, what am I doing? So we've kind of just covered maybe 2 weeks of our lives.
How long have we been talking?
It's just obviously we're in a really intense place, it's pretty wild. Yeah.
Well, and hopefully your retreat experience will be just as powerful and fruitful.
It will be. I like my room, so that's a good thing. My room's a comfortable place. Has a great window. It looks out onto a big tree, so I'll just kind of be planting myself there for some time of prayer and meditation. I'll have to pull out my book on Mother Guillemot and read some of her writings, read a little bit of St. Louise, again, preparing to do another retreat on St. Louise, which I'm really excited about, giving this retreat on St. Louise. Really, it's really helped me to get in touch with her more and more and learn to love her more and more, and to see how much she loved the community. Yeah, it really has been a good experience.
That's great.
Well, it is great.
We have a pre-postulant in our house, and so this will be the first time of her being able to be with us, renewing our vows, and so that'll be that'll be good. And, God willing, the Lord will continue to lead her
Yeah.
and our other newer folks on
Yes.
the
Yeah.
path to which He is calling them.
Yeah. It's really amazing that God still calls. I mean, there are people out there who think, oh, that doesn't happen anymore. Or, our religious communities getting vocations and, thinking about back in the heyday when there
Still
were,
happening, y'all.
hundreds of them. Might not be hundreds, but, one daughter charity, she could do the work of 10.
Yes.
you know so that's exciting. It's exciting, and I can imagine the first vow day of a pre-postulant or postulant
Mm-hmm.
must be odd, scary, kind of weird and wonderful all at the
All
same
the
time.
same.
All at the
Yes.
same time. Yeah.
And this will be a little behind the scenes, but usually the youngest sister in the house is in charge of decorating and doing a
Yeah.
little something for the other sisters. So I'm going to include her in that, helping
Because
me
you are
prepare.
the youngest sister in your house, correct?
I am.
Yeah.
Everybody out there listening, pray for us, and we'll be praying for you, saying yes to the Lord. It's also saying yes
Yeah.
to the service of His people,
Hmm.
and you're our people. If you're listening, you're our people.
That's
So
right.
you're in our prayers.
You are definitely in our prayers. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And now I feel like we had a million things to talk about today, but we
Uh,
just needed to be intensely daughters of charity today.
exactly,
Just all
exactly.
about it. All about it. So anyone who's listening who feels like, ooh, I like that intensity. I want something in my life that calls me to a deeper sense of God's love and
Keep in
mystery,
touch.
and absolutely keep in touch. Join the club.
You know how to find us. I mean, we are
That's
on everything. Just saying.
right. And this is the podcast of the Daughters of Charity. So if you're listening, you know where to find us, right? You know
Yes.
that this is the coolest place to be. We
We're
don't know
having a
how
good time. We
we
hope you
are.
are
We
having a good
always
time.
know we're having a good time. We hope the others,
Getting the
who are
breeze and
listening.
enjoying it and talking about the
Yeah,
love of God and the love of others. That's how we do.
that's it.
Good.
That's it. Yeah. A couple of sisters, one of the sisters was talking to me a little bit earlier, and I said, hey, I got to go because, I'm having a co-host chat with Sister Liz. Yeah. And she was like, oh,
Yes.
okay. And I say, stay tuned for Tuesday. You can hear all about it. No listening at the
Serious.
door, trying to hear what we're going to talk about.
Subscribe, y'all. Apple Podcasts. And you know how to find us. Just Google In the
That's
Company
it.
of Charity.
Yeah. And look us
So,
up online too. Check out the Daughter Charity website and our
mm-hmm.
vocation website, and read a little bit about St. Vincent, St. Louise. Get inspired. This is good stuff.
There's so much good stuff out there. And thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate you. We are praying for you. And we say yes again, and we're happy to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so happy for you, Sister Liz, and pray for me. Our retreat's coming up, and we'll see you on the other side after our yes is confirmed.
Peace of the Annunciation, y'all.
There you go. Have a good one, y'all.
See ya.
Bye.